Hey everyone, we're back for another week. I think this is episode 9. Hey Luba, how are you?
Hi Patrick, how are you?
Good, good. How was India?
You're not even gonna ask me about my tea. Look at this gigantic cup.
Okay, start with the tea, then tell us about India because I'm curious about the mug.
They're actually connected. Not
Okay.
because I'm drinking Indian tea, but because I came back with a bit of a cold. And so what I have in my cup right now is pure mint, just like mint leaves, lemon, and honey. So this is something that helps a person recover from a cold really fast.
Well, what I
It,
usually use is I like to boil some orange peels and I'll throw in some ginger and boil that for about 20 minutes and then add some honey because it tastes awful. But
Mhm.
it's like magic.
Really?
It works like nothing you've ever tried. It's magic. Try it out.
Orange peels, ginger, right?
Yeah.
And what else?
Start by slicing the ginger really thin. Boil that for a good 10 minutes, then throw in the orange peels for another 10 minutes.
Mm,
Add some honey because of the taste, and that's it. You're good to go.
okay. I'll do
Yeah.
it next. Okay, wonderful.
So,
So,
what about India? Tell us about it.
what tea are you drinking, Patrick?
Oh, I'm drinking my usual jasmine green tea that I'm always drinking because I'm not very adventurous when it comes to tea.
You are so consistent. It
I know.
is really nice, consistent and stable in your choice of tea. That is so wonderful. So India, it was my first time, and it's a magical country, mysterious, deep mm, place that opens you up and always in some new ways. And so this time my journey was actually mostly around Goa area where I was teaching a workshop. And since I didn't go for too long, one needs at least 3 months in India really to really dig what it is about. So my journey was only 3 weeks, and I spent a lot of it in Goa. And Goa is an interesting. It's almost like a old and then new age Mecca at the same time. So yeah, there are all kinds of workshops there and amazing parties and trance parties and worldwide known musicians that just get together to jam pretty much every day in many different places. Yeah, and people from all over the world are gathering there. In the morning, you come out to the ocean and you just see people practicing on their own or in groups right on the ocean. And a lot, pretty much most people from the beach get together for daily sunset ritual, just like saying goodbye to the sun every day with drumming circles and singing and other interesting activities. So yeah, I really really loved it there. And I would say that it gives a lot of space. It gives a lot of possibility to be more silent and not to be scared about it. You know?
Beautiful.
Yeah. So that was my journey. How have you been?
I'm great. Since we last spoke, I was in Amsterdam, and now I'm currently in Warsaw, in Poland.
I know. I know. How is that working for you? Warsaw.
Amazing. I love it. I'm having time in my life, and this is the perfect time actually to segue into our topic because you mentioned hesitation and fear, and we're going to talk about something that a lot of people are actually afraid of, or at least afraid of indulging in, and that is going to be love, which is a very, very broad topic. We're going to turn away from what we had scheduled, and we're going to talk about what love means in this day and age. So I want to start by getting your idea. First of all, what inspired you, Luba, to request it, to want to discuss this in the first place?
Well, yeah. So today is Shivaratri, and it is a holiday which celebrates the marriage of Hindu god Shiva and his consort Parvati. And Parvati is a woman who's been really dedicated to her man. And Shiva as you know, is the father of meditation and yoga and tantra. And
He's
so
the
it,
divine masculine as well.
Yes, he is the symbol for masculine, and she is the symbol for feminine. So today in Hindu calendar, not only it's Shivaratri, but it is also Maha Shivaratri, which is something that happens only every like so many years. And I really I'm still connected to the energies in India, and I definitely feel it in the air. So I was inspired. It's one of my favorite holidays. So sometimes I spend a whole night in a temple just sitting in for Shivaratri, sitting and chanting with other people. In New York, for example, uh, like 2,000 people come for that kind of ritual. The people who are not Hindu at all, just people who practice any kind of yoga or meditation or musicians. It's really a festive occasion.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah. So that inspired me, but also I have a lot of love in my life, and that that is inspiring as well.
Tell us a little bit about it. Would love, I mean, the way that you quantify or qualify love,
Yeah.
is it different than, say, the Hollywood Hallmark packaged version?
Well, see, the Hollywood package version always usually stops at something which is the most interesting and questionable, which is so what happens after they happily fall in love. Except for, of course, like some deep movies like American Beauty, which actually answers exactly that question. But yeah, well, what I feel about the presence of love in our lives is really the presence. Her presence demonstrates in itself on many different levels, and one of the levels is the care that we want to put into what we're producing and sending out to the world. Like, for example, people who work as architects, um, and they're hired by some firm that is really caring about money, and wants the, let's say, the design of the house to be to result in the cheapest production. But all of a sudden, let's say those architects, they just bring in their soul and their love, and they create something absolutely beautiful, and that beauty then is sent out to the world. So anything that we do, we can do with so much love, that this is the love that goes through us. Whether we, let's say, people who make bread, or people who make food in restaurants, or people who are hairdressers that can just touch their client, right, with that love. And so that is definitely one of the things which I think really penetrates the whole culture. Like, for example, in India, especially before, there used to be so much love. Anywhere you would go, you would just see those loving eyes and caring hands and good energy that went into the food, that went into like production of so many things. So that's one level of how love demonstrates itself, I feel, through our actions and through our intention, through the intent. When we spend most of the time working, so the intent of like why we're doing it, what we're doing, that is what contributes to the level of love in some kind of country or in the world. So that's one. Do you agree? Does it make sense?
Yeah, I find that, like it says in the Bhagavad Gita, or actually even in the Bible, when Jesus talks about loving your enemies, and ultimately the lesson is to not have enemies. But in the Gita, Lord Krishna explains how we're all one ultimately, right? And I think that the important lesson to learn is that as long as you look upon any living creature and understand that we're all in some way, shape, or form part of the same aperture through which the cosmos is viewing itself, then we get to understand that there's like a type of reverence that takes over. Don't you notice that about people who've taken on the spiritual life, who are very mindful and very conscious of this? They tend to be effortlessly loving, where it's almost as if giving something away that they hold very dear to themselves makes them happier than to hold on to it. Whereas just this kind of there's a lightness to their steps, and there's a humming to their voice, and it's just this beautiful. experience, and you feel it. And the moment you connect with that profound well of love that exists all around you, your life really takes a turn. And I like to think that you cease to exist as an individual. Like you're not a part of the equation anymore. And that's scary for a lot of people, because the fun thing is when you confront someone with this idea, well, they go, well, what's in it for me, right? And that's always the first reflex, is what's in it for me. And the funny thing is that you live in so much more abundance when you give up this sense of I, when you understand that I'm not a part of this, not a part of the equation. And it's as simple, right, as giving, let's say you're giving a quarter to a homeless person. Understand that it's this homeless person's karma that to have received this quarter. You're the vehicle through which the universe is expressing itself, and it doesn't go to your head anymore. It's just not and all of a sudden everything's just light, and it's a feeling. It's hard to explain, obviously, but living in this abundant love, you don't even need to worry about yourself anymore, because all of your needs will be met. And so, like in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, right? He says that I will provide for all your needs. It's very simple. Those are dear to me. I will provide for all their needs.
Yeah, for sure. And in tantric teaching, there is a belief that we already have that abundant, strong flow of love, and it's just like some obstructions that don't allow us, let's say, to connect to that flow, and to pass it through ourselves. So those obstructions are our pain stories, the stories that happen to us personally and to our families and to the whole human karma that made us scared and made us sick. And that is something that of love. And you're right, the first question for me, exactly. But what is in it for me? I used to answer that question a long time ago like this. It's like, okay, imagine this. You're walking on the street and you're thinking thoughts, some kind of thoughts. Let's say your thoughts will be, oh, this is beautiful, or this person is amazing, or oh, look at this rain, or whatever. Or you're going to be walking on the street and thinking, oh my God, I'm so scared. I want to make sure I'm going to get something tonight from my date, whatever it is, right? Like, so there are two types of thoughts you could be thinking. So those are your thoughts. Those are the thoughts that go through your head. That's what is in it for you, that your thoughts, your world will just lighten up. And that is what's the most important. Because at the end of the day, what you think that you're getting when you are really worrying about your personal interest, usually when you're getting finally what you want, doesn't satisfy you anyway. Usually it's the process of the relationship with the world that is already serving you. And you're absolutely right, this kind of people become godlike, they become more divine. But I'll give you some more, on that is the youth. Like the youth is being eternal. The more light you are,
There's like a
the
glow.
younger
There's something
you
about them. They're magnetic, effortlessly.
exactly. Yeah, and you can stay like that for a really long time because when the light is shining through. But I also want to say that like certain things like poisons, like food and spiritual food and information food. This is something that stops the flow of that love. But still, what's important, I think, is to recognize that love is the source of the universe. That it is just that sometimes it plays and it shows itself in all this like the scary monsters. But really, it's Krishna who is coming in and who is playing the game with you. It's really love that's playing the game. And if you're able to recognize love in whatever is going on, then you will be the happiest person in the world. That's what it is in it for you.
That's the funny thing, is that a lot of the times you'll be faced with some people who've been hurt, especially. It comes a lot from people who are either inexperienced, but the worst are the ones who come from a place of hurt, because it's even scarier to open even in that hurt, right? To to let your heart be vulnerable and open yourself up to the possibility of more love and also more hurt. But so you'll have these people that come up, and a lot of the times when I'm working with clients, we'll discuss this, and I always tell them, I go, just let go, just live in love, and you're fine. And they go, yeah, yeah, but like, what's the proof? Like, show me it'll work first. And that's, I always, it's hilarious because it's mischievous in a way, because the universe just doesn't work that way. Every time you sit down and ask the universe for proof, um, the answer is always resoundingly, no, no, no. Let go first. Give up your support structures. Give up your story of poor little me, as I like to call it. Give all of that up. Take the risk. Take the leap, and then we'll see. But no promises. We'll see. And it's
Definitely.
always rewarding in the end.
Patrick, yeah, I hear you, and that's exactly what you do. That's your function. Okay, well, first of all, the retreats that I teach and workshops, within that space that's being created, people do feel the proof, because within that space they are able to de-armor themselves, right? For like 2 hours, 3 hours, or a weekend maybe, because it's not that scary to do it. And all of a sudden, there is this huge transformation that happens throughout this weekend. And all of a sudden, when they leave, they're all in love with each other, as opposed to when they come and they're all scared of each other. And that is the proof. And then I would say, okay, well, but nothing's changed, right? You're still the same person. It's not like something came into this space or came out. It's not like we took any drugs or like we were on something. It's just like, just still you. You come, you go through this process of letting go, and all of a sudden everything is illuminated. That is the proof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to take a couple minutes to talk about romantic love. So as
Yes.
long as we're on the subject and we're along the same lines here, how would you apply that to romantic love, or how would you see it?
Well, first of all, I love romantic love. I'm not, I'm not sure if like the word, specifically the word romantic. I mean, it has some connotation of this hallucinatory meaning, like that we come up with all kinds of ideas which then break, and then we see that our ideas about another person, idealizing another person that maybe weren't so right. But let's say, okay, the love which has desire in it, and love that brings into people into this very passionate, let's say, and dramatic kind of interaction. Maybe that's how I would describe it. Well, first of all, I feel that we have to be friends, even if we are fighting for something within this kind of relationship. We have to be friends. There has to be a certain level of comfort in our interactions.
Yeah,
And yeah, I like that. I like that comfort in knowing that we come from the same place of oneness. It changes everything.
yeah,
Really changes everything. And wanting for another person to succeed, wanting for another person to be happy, wanting for another person to grow, to receive pleasure. I think that is very, very important. In love, in romantic love, let's say, trust, trust on every level, sexual level, very important. If there is no trust on sexual level, it's very hard to allow the love enter your body, especially for a woman. So trust takes time to develop. Sometimes it's immediate too. So how to come into that place where you're a friend, you're trusting, at the same time you have desire. And I feel that what's important in this is to come in very pure. Just come in very, very pure, without any kind of long-term agenda. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That sparks up love. Love doesn't like agenda.
yeah. I agree 100%.
Right.
I actually, the way that I see it to me is that there's three stages to the way that you greet romantic love. Let's call it that way. So to me, the first would be where I would be coming from a me angle, right? I'm still holding on to this story of poor little me, and it's what can you do for me? How can I use you to make my ego feel better? How can I use you as a means to enhance my identity and to heal, past wounds that I'm not willing to give up or even explore? So it's very manipulative, right? And that's why you'll have a lot of people who, I mean, you have these dumb advice columns where it's like 3 text messages to get her into bed or something, right? And so the inclination to want to even click through a title like that is indicative of what stage that you're at, right? And so to me, and then the second thing, no, but it has to be addressed, is that it's an I-centered way of being, and ultimately it's selfish. And the funny thing too is that the more conscious a partner is, I'm speaking from a man's perspective here, so the more conscious that a woman is, the more she'll be able to see through this crap. And it's amazing because, for example, this was, God, this is almost well over a year ago. When I had first moved to Holland, when I was living in Amsterdam, I remember I went out one weekend and I saw this beautiful girl surrounded by her friends, right? And we locked eyes. She looks at me, I looked at her, and it was like there was something there, and there was no use to even use words. So I just extended my hand through her friends, and she took it. And then I introduced myself, and as I started to talk, it's funny because I can even notice the moments in which I'm speaking through an ego and when I'm being authentic. And I
So
had into this, I just moved there. I kind of lost my footing. So I was trying to impress a little bit, and she tore me apart, but in an amazing. I mean, it was so beautiful because,
can you give an example? It sounds really interesting.
oh well, she just looked at me and she goes, "Okay, first of all, you don't need to be saying this kind of thing," and like just
What
showing
were
off.
you saying? No doubt. What were you saying?
I can't remember. It was a long time ago. I can't remember it. Like it wasn't a long conversation, and it didn't take her very long. But the funny thing was that she pointed 2 or 3 things out, but they were so accurate and so spot on that I was just kind of shocked, and I stopped and I said, "Jesus, thank you." Um,
Okay, but like, could you give an example of what could be something like that,
Oh,
right?
to be
With
honest, any
ego?
front that a man puts on. I mean, the interesting thing is that the masculine, in order to even be attractive, this is what a lot of people misunderstand. They'll confuse it with looks and money and that kind of crap. But on a fundamental cellular level, something changes in the feminine when the masculine is so grounded, so present, and so fully there with her, right? It's this empty just consciousness, right? And when he shows up with that plus his intention, right? I want you. I'm here for you. I don't care who's watching. I don't have a fraction of a second to
Yeah,
even think about what I'm going to say to try to impress you. This is me, vulnerable and open, fully conscious, and I'm here with you. Take it or leave it, right? So it's that, again, this energy that women will find attractive, or the feminine will be just, it's like, because it's so polarizing. It's just like, wow, wow. Um, so the moment the masculine is able to show up like that,
yeah,
anything else is wavering. So even if the man comes, again, I'm giving examples as a man, but for me, if it's not an expression of who he is in that moment, so in other words, if he feels like saying something funny and that's his deepest truth and he expresses that, beautiful. If he's saying something funny because the background noise is please like me for this joke, he's dead in the water. If he
yeah,
says something just overtly sexual, like I can't take my eyes off you and I want you, if that's his deepest truth, then that's beautiful. Women respond to that with their entire bodies. But if he says it because he's trying to prove a point to himself or to his friends or to anybody else watching, he's dead in the water. So it's difficult to pinpoint, right? Because it's about being authentic at the end of the day.
yeah.
Um,
It sounds amazing. I was just thinking maybe we should record you, and then I thought, well, we are recording.
Let me run through this real quick. We're running out of time here, but so the second stage would be the opposite. It would be approaching with the intent solely of of making the experience about her. Finding what her fantasies are and bringing love out of her, which is beautiful. I've had many incredibly beautiful relationships like that, but ultimately they still, in some way, it's still ego driven, and when it ends, there's a cling. you're still there's this unacceptance of impermanence because you draw an identity from this. And then finally, the third stage is to transcend that entirely, and the relationship itself is just, it's a truth. It's isness. It's life itself. There is a
Yes.
forever because you don't impose a forever. There's nothing. I'm not trying to get anything from you. You're not trying to get anything. We're just happy, and this is our truth in this moment. And if it's like this tomorrow, it'll keep going, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow. But it's indescribable. It's just beautiful, and it's light, and it's fun. And ultimately, I think that that is what anybody should really aspire to, is that it's this free, open, just um, it's a love that has no identity. And I'll give the example where the funny thing is, I have there was a time period where there was always a new woman in my life for a month or so on, right? And it's beautiful, it's great. But I had this one girlfriend. I'll always remember her because she would always laugh at me, and she would say, in this case, by the way, it's a friend who's a girl. It's a platonic friendship. But she would always say, one day you're gonna find a girl, and she's gonna make you like forget all the other ones, and you're gonna have to give up. And the funny thing is that it's happened. I mean, it's happening right now. First of all, with an amazing girl, and it's great. And but the point being is that when you're in this third stage, there isn't that like classic Hollywood like moment of self-reflection where is that, am I willing to give up all these women? And then finally, like, he makes the right choice. It just feels right, and it's so effortless that the need to look elsewhere simply isn't there. And maybe that'll change, but in this moment, this is my truth, and that's fine. It's there's no, I don't stumble in my own footsteps. It feels right. I just want to be with this one person. Great, beautiful. I don't have to worry about it.
Fantastic. Yes, exactly. It's just like when people ask, are you polyamorous? Are you monogamous? I'd say I'm just loyal to love. Whatever
Beautiful.
it is.
That's it. That's the third stage. It's being in love with love itself.
Absolutely. And also, but also, I just want to say that within all of our relationships, we are learning about different aspects of ourselves.
Mm.
Right? And in fact, we're usually excited and fascinated with something because there is a certain aspect of ourselves that we would like to explore deeper. And so sometimes it's instrumental when different kind of people reflect different kind of aspects of you, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're different with this woman or with this man, you're different with this person, and you're able to look at yourself in a new, different way. And learn things about the world in those new, different ways. It
Beautiful.
is also possible to go through that journey with the same person, especially if that person and you can dance in different ways, or if you can dance for a while and then just the life itself is going to make you confront certain aspects of yourself just
Yeah.
through, let's say, silence or hardship or certain hormonal changes or whatever challenges that come up. All of a sudden, whoa, you're facing your jealousy. Whoa, you're facing this. You're facing that. Your fears. You're facing, let's say, bankruptcy. You're facing, like some kind of grief that's happening in the family. Like, and so with the same person, you can go through the same through a journey, through a very deep journey, or there are times when you need to learn about, let's say, your sexuality, and it is more instrumental to have different people reflect that for you. So I would say right now my position on this is be uh, committed to yourself, be committed to your own self-realization, and exactly what you said, it feels right, it feels like the truth, like the isness of it. Yeah, the existential aspect is taken care of. That's it. That's what's right. And if it doesn't, there are two things that can be done. One thing is that you can look at what is wrong, what you have to explore. What is the dark side that is not allowing you to love this specific person with all of your power, with all of your loving power? And that is a great piece of information for you to go and explore and to work on yourself. And you can explore it with the same person, or you can explore it with other people, or you can explore it with a healer, or you can explore it with a shaman, or you can just take a pause and not explore anything and just hang out in the world and wait for this whole same thing to hit you again. I mean, there are several options, really. There's several options. Enlightenment is not something that you have to hurry to achieve, really. But at the same time, I just want to say that the more stories we are able to let go of in ourselves, the more we're able to open to love, the more love is going to be present in our lives. And it can happen now, today especially. It's Shivaratri, it's a special holiday.
All right, we're gonna end on this note. Be
Yeah.
sure to check in with us next week. We're gonna talk about letting go of your story and opening to love. And Luba, do you have a tip, something specific that our listeners can work on?
Yeah. Um, just for today, just like do this practice. For some people, this practice is going to really, really just like take you to a completely different, beautiful dimension. So just for today, as you walk around and look at people's eyes, just imagine that it's love that's looking at you from their eyes. Just imagine that love is behind those pupils, and see how you feel and talk to love directly and see how the interactions are going to shift for you. That's my present for today.
Great.
And you, Patrick, is there anything that you want to recommend?
Yeah, I would recommend that for the next week, so every day until the next episode, go out and give love to 5 different people with no expectation of reward or return. Don't even stand and wait for them to say thank you. It takes 5 seconds. Go and you notice something and you appreciate it about someone. It could be a scarf, it could be a haircut, it could be that the person in front of you just looks absolutely amazing. So you tell them, you look absolutely amazing, have a great day, and then you walk off. And do that to 5 different people for the next 7 days, and see how you feel. See the way that your life changes. That's my challenge. So Luba, it was great to have you, and I'll catch up with you next week.
Thank you so much, dear. Yeah, talk to you soon. Happy Shivaratri. Bye.
Thank you. You too.